One of my favorite game dev YouTubers, Miziziz, uploaded a video a while ago called How to Become a Good Game Developer in Under a Year. In it, he describes a series of steps and challenges that you can follow to become a pretty good game developer from scratch. It's a pretty intensive approach, but by the end you'll have a rock-solid foundation in your tools and basic game design intuition, and you'll have a pretty good project up your sleeve. I decided I wanted to give it a shot. When you look at some of the comments on that video, you'll see quite a few people claiming to have attempted this challenge, but that's it. There's no updates, despite the clear interest from other people leaving comments. They seem to have just fallen off the map. So I figured it could be a fun and motivational way to document my progress through this game dev plan. But I can't start right away. You see, I graduated with a computer science degree in April of this past year, and I've been trying to find a job since. After tons of interviews, I started to learn that the projects I have on my GitHub are kind of lacking. Now, I've also got a project I started on years ago, but just never ended up finishing. I use it often enough, and I want to finish it, I just haven't had the time for it. Can you see where this is going? So, I have two goals I want to reach before I start on this game dev journey. Goal 1 is finish the project I started years ago, but this time around use advice from various interviewers and cover some of my past weak points in software development in general. Goal 2 is document all of this in a devlog style so I can practice both my writing skills and my video creation skills now, so I won't have to be learning too many new skills at once when I do the game dev project. So what exactly is this project? Well, it's a combat tracker for D&D 5th edition. If you're familiar with D&D combat, you have your party and some enemies, and each of these has a health value and initiative score that determines who goes when during combat, but I'm lazy, so I don't like having to spend time handwriting this for every single fight I throw. And I frequently play D&D in spots that have little to no Wi-Fi, so a website isn't gonna be useful to me. Plus, I figured I could just make my own project, and since I use it so much, it would be a pretty invaluable experience. Now, the old version of this was pretty close to being finished, but it underwent so many redesigns and refactors as I learned more and more about software development that it ended up becoming an unoptimized and poorly written, pretty buggy mess of code. Interviewers that I met with told me as such, but in a much nicer way, obviously. It was legitimately useful advice to me. While I don't play D&D regularly now, when I did, I used this program for every single Saturday for well over a year. Part of this advice was to make use of two tools, one called Maven and one called CI/CD. Now, Maven, as I understand it, is a build tool that lets you determine code dependencies and plugins and easily duplicate that setup on other machines. CI/CD, or continuous integration and continuous delivery, is a way to continually test your code and deploy new versions of that code automatically. So using these two tools together, I can easily set up my project and continually have my GitHub repo test my project and also build it. This is more something that an interviewer suggested that I learn, so it's not really something I have much of a choice over right now, nor will it be something I focus my time on beyond this point. So now, delving into the actual project, I'm going to be using a design pattern called MVC, or Model View Controller. This is commonly used in web development and other desktop GUI programs. We can think of model as kind of containing the data and the data operations and logic. View represents the user interface and the logic that goes along with that, and controller kind of acts as a middleman between the two and typically handles user input. Model will hold my party members and enemies and have methods to manipulate them. View represents a single page in FXML and contains a lot of the UI logic, and controller will also be page specific and handle page transitions and extra non-UI page logic and things like that. Now, I'm going to be using a slightly modified version to better fit my project, but it's still essentially MVC. I'll have two pages to start, a startup page where we can write our party members and enemies, and an encounter page that handles the actual combat encounters. Both pages need to be as small as possible on the screen because when I DM, I have other things open. It also needs to have shortcuts and controls so I can control it solely with the keyboard. Having a laptop, I don't really like using the trackpad too much for things like this, and I don't like having an extra mouse that I need just for this. Startup will look kind of like this, where each box is just a text field. The encounter page, on the other hand, simply has the data in a sorted order, with a turn icon and a next turn feature. In future milestones, I'll be implementing adding new fighters during your fight, but for now we won't really worry about that. We'll just put a little placeholder button. Now onto the timeline for this project. It'll take me about 6 weeks to complete, and I'm going to have a milestone for each week and a devlog to go along with every milestone. Milestone 1 will be as simple as a hello world style page where we just have a rendered window with just a few random elements, maybe with a couple of little actions or buttons or updating labels. As you can see here, each milestone has a significant feature or set of features that determine if it's done or not. Assuming I can keep to the schedule, I should be fully finished by about October 23rd, which for a project of this scale seems like a lot, but considering I'm also doing devlogs and I'll be starting a new job halfway through this, the extra time may be more realistic. So this is the end of the first of 6 devlogs for this project. While maybe this might not be the most interesting project that's been documented this way on YouTube, I'm hoping to hone my video creation skills and come out with a decent resume piece. And once all that's over, then I can take on the game dev project.